Hey, welcome back to Proving Proverbs. I'm Brad Casper, and this is where we read the text, absorb the knowledge, display the wisdom, and reap the blessings. Anyway, this week we're diving back into chapter 12. In this chapter, it continues on with the theme, and that theme is contrasting righteousness from wickedness, and it emphasizes a love for discipline, honest speech, hard work, caring for others, even your animals. It leads to stability and divine favor, and folly and deceit brings ruin. And so it just shows the stark contrast between the two and what these two paths look like when you take them through this journey that we all call life. But this is an interesting chapter because it talks about the love of discipline. And it opens by highlighting that loving instruction is essential for knowledge. And that while hating correction is stupid or, being unteachable, these are obviously not good characteristics. And so it's through that type of discipline that we can, remain grounded and true to ourselves and on the correct path. And then, of course, the difference between righteous speech and deceitful speech. Righteous speech, it brings healing and safety, whereas, words from the wicked are like piercing swords. I mean, it even says in here how a good word can, relieve anxiety. And, it's no secret today that, anxiety has plagued so many people. I mean, I forget the number. I actually did a video about, mental health, and the numbers are staggering. People that are suffering with mental illness and, anxiety and depression being at the top of the list. I mean, there is a huge percentage of the public that, deals with this. And, the thought that a good word can relieve anxiety, well, seems to me we should be speaking more good words. Diligence and work ethic. Diligence leads to success and leadership, while laziness leads to poverty and forced labor. Wisdom in relationships. A prudent person overlooks insults, while a fool is quickly annoyed. And caring for others. A righteous person is compassionate, even, for their animals, whereas the wicked, they are just always cruel. It's in their nature towards people and everything that they come in contact with. But this is, an interesting chapter. It's, like I said in the beginning, it's a continuation. It just continues to thread through this whole concept of, wickedness and righteousness and what that looks like. And so, as we go about our week this week in an attempt to try and implement these things into our life, let's try and, be a positive light in the world and a positive influence to those that we come in contact with, because it is a dark world out there. And if we can each add a little bit of light along our way, it can ultimately brighten the whole world up when it happens collectively. And I think that that's what we need right now. So let's get into the text. Chapter 12. Here we go. He who loves discipline loves knowledge. Stupid is the man who hates correction. The good man wins the favor of Yahweh, but he condemns the man who is a schemer. No man is made secure by wickedness, but nothing shakes the roots of the virtuous men. A good wife, her husband's crown. A shameless wife, a cancer in his bones. The plans of virtuous men are honest. The intrigues of the wicked are nothing if not deceit. The words of the wicked men are snares to shed blood, but honest men have answers and elude them. Once thrown down, the wicked are no more, but the house of the virtuous men stands firm. The praise of a man is in proportion to his prudence. Men of depraved heart are held in contempt. Better a common man who does his own work than one who plays the Lord and goes short of bread. The virtuous man looks after the lives of his beasts, but the wicked man's heart is ruthless. He who tills his land shall have bread and to spare. He who chases fantasies has no sense. The desires of the godless are sickly. The roots of the devout are firmly set. His own lips are to blame when the wicked man is entrapped. The virtuous man finds his own way out of misfortune. When a man is filled with good things, it is the fruit of his own words. Each man's labor brings its own return. In the eyes of the fool, the way he goes is right. The wise man listens to advice. The fool shows his displeasure straight away. The discreet man overlooks the insult. To tell the truth is to further justice. A false witness is nothing but deceit. There are some whose thoughtless words pierce like a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Lips that tell the truth abide firm forever. The tongue that lies lasts only for a moment. Bitterness is in the heart of the schemer. Joy with those who give counsels of peace. No harm can come to him, the virtuous man, but to the wicked have their own fill of troubles. Lips that lie are abhorrent to Yahweh, dear to him those who speak the truth. The man of discretion keeps his knowledge hidden. The heart of fools proclaims their folly. For the diligent hand, authority. For the slack hand, forced labor. Worry makes a man's heart heavy. A kindly word makes it glad. An impartial arbiter is his own best friend. The way of the wicked leads them astray. The idle man has no game to roast. Diligence is a man's most precious possession. Life lies along the path of virtue. The way of the vicious leads to death. There you have it. And so it continues. We see these two paths out in front of us. Which path will you take? Hopefully, you'll join me on the one that's of virtue. You know, I think it's interesting. We should be grateful that we find ourselves in a time post Yeshua, post Jesus the Christ, because we have his life as an example to look to see what it looks like to actually live this thing out. Now, it's not expected of us to do it perfectly like he did it perfectly, because it was in that perfection that was his own purpose. But for us, it's to see the example that's in that and to make an attempt at the very least to try and live out that same type of life ourselves to the best of our ability. And I think that when we do this, we will ultimately come into blessings. The problem is today we associate blessings with the material. And so we make the material the pursuit. We make the material the end goal. When in reality, we should be making the things of the internal, these character traits and these attributes, These should be the things that we set our sights on. These should be our pursuit. And when we make these things our focus, the material things become a byproduct of that pursuit. And that is what I believe it looks like to be truly blessed in this life. And if more and more people would make that their pursuit rather than the material things, I think that this world would look a whole lot different. And so this week, as you go about your own walk, try to be a light, to all those that you come in contact with. Because it is a dark world out there. And it just appears to be getting darker and darker as we go. And so that world, it needs more light. And that light can only come from us. And I do believe that if enough of us shine that light, the whole world can look a lot brighter. And that is the main goal, that is the main objective with Proving Proverbs. It is to implement these things into our life. And hopefully, as we do that, and as we go out into the world, that wisdom will be displayed for others to see and to wonder about, and to possibly come into themselves. So that's the name of the game. Anyway, I am Brad Casper. This is Proving Proverbs. If this video has touched you, please like the video. It helps push it out to more and more people. I would love to hear from you, so please comment. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell, and we will see you next week for chapter 13. Casper's out.